Welcome to Mobtv. Please do subscribe to our channel for more videos. Click on the bell button for notification.
What is my place, gentlemen? Is there any hotel minister here, please? Any hotel minister? It is my honor, singular honor, to introduce in our midst a very special guest of honor. He is none other person than Chief Sir Emmanuel C. Iwanyamu Aha Ejagama, one of Igbo land. Sir, we salute you with superlative authority. Thank you very much. Thank you. Announce the presence of the gubernatorial candidate of PDP in the person of Right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha. It is also my honor to announce the presence also here, the government candidate of CAP Party in the person of Reverend Barrister Ikenna Emmanuel. It's also my honor to announce here, present with us, the gubernatorial candidate of NNPP in the person of His Worshipful Barrister Dr. Ahizechukwu O. Daniel. I would also like to announce also the present here in our midst, the gubernatorial candidate of SDP in the person of Sir Oke Ezen. Started. Fortunately, we will not wait for others to join us because of our time. All right. Event. And also just to let you know that this is gubernatorial election debates that has been organized by Igbo Community Europe. Igbo Community Europe, made up of different countries from Europe. United Kingdom is there, Netherlands is there, Sweden is there, Italy is there, Germany is there, Greece is there. So we have loads of European countries that made up this particular forum. So based in diaspora, decided to organize this debate so we can hear from the global candidates on what they will do for the Imorites. All right? It's my singular honor to also introduce who has flew all the way from United Kingdom for this particular purpose, the chief moderator of today's debate. He is the solicitor of England, and he is also a chartered accountant, and he is also a member of ICANN, International Chartered Accountant of Nigeria. He is also a recognized auditor and also IT expert certified by IBM. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Jude Nzako. Please let's welcome Dr. Jude Nzako. Dr. Jude Nzako. All right. And the next moderator, ladies and gentlemen, he is the one we popularly call the Great Boss in United Kingdom. He is also a member of Imo State Union, United Kingdom. He is a certified practicing economist, and he is also the chairman, strategic think tank committee of Imo Community, United Kingdom. Please let's welcome Chief Sir Ben Abunobi. He will be the second moderator for today. Please put your hands together for Chief Sir Ben Abunobi. Ezo Hawa.
Thank the Gubernatorial that are here today for such humility and passion to serve our state.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for this event. Your Excellencies, we thank you for the time. The afternoon will be very quick. There is an estimated 2 hours of debate time. I will just outline and repeat what the coordinator earlier stated. This event is only to be a discussion event. And we implore you, the audience, to please do not clap. We will have the opportunity to clap for all the candidates at the end of the discussions. Please, there should be no shouting, no booing. Let us show some respect for the excellencies that are here. It would not matter whatever they say. Let us listen to them, whether they are right or wrong. Please, there should be no booing. We should also be reminded that this event is aired all over the world with YouTube, we're on the television, we're on Facebook, and we're also on radio. So we have to try as much as possible to put a good behavior.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Linus Okorie. For 25 years of my life, since I was 19 years old, I have been committed to building leadership capital for Nigeria and Africa. I am from Ebuoma in Uguta, local government area of Imo State of Nigeria, a leadership coach, and one of the major things that I've been known for over the years is human capital development. And over 300,000 people specifically have gone through my leadership trainings, and millions through radio and television have been impacted. I went through government secondary school, Owerri, where I was senior prefect, went through Imo State University, where I was the first elected student union president, and...
Okay, your minute is up. Thank you very much. SZP, Your Excellency, tell Imolites who you are.
Thank you very much. My name is Oke Eze. I'm a native of Ahia Zumbise in Imo State. I'm a graduate of mass communication, and I have an MBA. I'm an investment banker by profession. I have put in 27 years cognitive experience working in the world's leading multinational financial services group, Citigroup. I am a purveyor of value and an entrepreneur. In Imo State, I have created establishments that have put over 850 people in employment. My mission is to bring value into public governance in Imo State. And we are seeking to do this by bringing about a paradigm shift. We want to create value for the taxpayer, because for too long we feel that governance has been left to career politicians. My entry into governance is to bring about paradigm shift whereby our people will get value. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you. Your Excellency, PDP.
Good morning, Imolites. My name is Emeka Ihedioha. I hail from Abombi Local Government area of Imo State. I'm a first degree graduate from University of Lagos, reasonably educated. I've been in public life since 1982 when I've been serving the federal government of our country. I've been involved in various development processes of our nation. I'm a trained food technologist, but I've practiced education. Between 1992 and 2015, I served the federal government of our country in different capacities as press officer to the President of Senate, as Chief Press Secretary to the Deputy President of Senate. I served as Special Assistant to the Vice President. I served as Special Assistant to the President of the Senate. I was elected member of the House of Reps in 2003. I became chairman of Committee on Marine Transport. I became later, in 2007, I was elected chief whip of the House of Reps. By 2011, I was elected unopposed unanimously by the 360 members of the House of Reps as the Deputy Speaker of the Green Chamber of our National Assembly. In 2015, I ran for the governorship of our state. I believe that was an election. I scored the highest number of votes, but I wasn't declared the winner. I am putting myself forward to serve our state, to bring to bear on our state my vast network of goodwill and experience to move it more to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, an NPP, no clapping, please, no clapping.
I attended Federal Government College, Port Harcourt, University of Uyo, and River State University of Science and Technology. I worked at Nigerian Gubernatorial as a project administrator, and I ran my own private firm as a lawyer. And until recently, I was a magistrate in Imo State Judiciary. I only resigned that appointment on 20th of January last year to contest and win the governorship of Imo State. I believe that law must be used to advance the socio-economic and political aspiration of man. And the law that I want, the law I'm talking about, is the one that brings everybody on rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the CAP political party, tell Imolites who you are. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Reverend Barrister Ikenna Emmanuel. I'm from Umeze 2, Ehimembano, to be precise. I studied lab science with a specialty in the area of virology and parasitology under the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, and I studied law at Imo State University, and I did my postgraduate diploma in peace and conflict and my master's in international relations. I have been in the area of leadership development that has made outstanding contributions in our state. I'm married with 4 children, and I'm the senior pastor of the Federal Leadership Board. Federal Leadership Board is committed, is a multicultural, diversified system that seeks to create the necessary environment for the transformation of the human person. I've been able to put factors in place that serve as an instrument for the restoration and revamp of West African countries. All right, thank you.
The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria states that local governments shall exist to be managed and controlled by various state House of Assembly towards the establishment and practice of democratic values at local level. Question 1. How will your government ensure the implementation of this provision of the Constitution and also protect the independence of the legislature? Our first question will go to the first candidate, YPP.
Create a governance system that works, which means that our government system will really provide real good governance in all ramifications. And one of the things that you need to know is that for us to create a world-class IMO filled with endless possibilities, it is important that the executive will work very greatly with the legislature. How will that happen? The legislature is supposed to be a very independent system. But if you have a government system that has cast a big vision, everybody can work together. Chief Ikedo Hakim, when he was governor, first thing he did was to organize a big retreat at the Gubernatorial ranch where there was very quality relationship with the members of the legislative arm of government. I do not believe that it is the governor's responsibility to try to influence through negative means or through bribery members of the legislative team. That's why we must ensure that in forthcoming election, only quality men and women will make our state legislative arm of government. It is because that is the most important arm of government people don't know about. When you have people who can hold government accountable, that is what I'm going to encourage, that they will be independent. I will not interfere in their processes. I will do my job as the governor to ensure that at the end of the day, I cast the big vision and I do the mobilization necessary to ensure that the people buy into the big vision of recreating an IMO state that is going to be a world-class IMO filled with endless possibilities. So any time that we need the legislature to do great things to ensure that we facilitate the process of making laws in order to be able to solve economic problems for our state, we have to ensure that it is done with speed, like Franklin Roosevelt did in 1933. Remember that there was a shutdown of the US government in 1933. It was a president that ensured that he put all of the legislative arm together and all the stakeholders to facilitate a system of solving the entire problem under 3 days. And at the end of the day, they brought out policies, they executed it, and it worked. My job as governor is to execute, is to implement whatever policies or laws that the state legislative brings on board. But I will not interfere in any of their processes to undermine the effort of the legislature. And that has been one of the major problems of governance, both at the national level and the state level, where the governor thinks that he is going to buy everybody and make them a stamp. They don't need to be a stamp. They need to strengthen my administration, and my job is to allow them to operate the way they must operate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. SDP, please.
Thank you very much for that question. I think that if you look at our legal statutes, that mandates that arm of government, the legislative arm, to be independent. But the problem is that when you talk about statutory codified independence that is not backed up by fiscal autonomy, you'll be skating on thin ice. What am I talking about? The way the House of Assembly, the legislative arm is structured now is that their very existence financially is at the behest of the legislative arm. Some of us have raised our voices vociferously to the issue of restructuring. Restructuring is not just about geopolitical concerns, but I think we need to rejig our very constitution. It's not enough to say that there are 3 independent arms of government, but you have one arm controlling all the other arms financially. So I am for a pure a fiscal overhaul that would enable the legislative arm to have a first-line charge as far as funding is concerned. Once you get that right, then every other thing is going to fall into place. The other question is, like somebody else has mentioned, what is the quality of representation at the legislative arm? Today, because of a decline in our value system, We are virtually running a capistocracy. We have some of the very worst citizens, with all due respect to everyone, we have some of the very worst citizens showing up to be elected. And when these people show up, and if there are 10 of them and there are 7 slots to be filled, it means that at the end of the day, you have a vast majority of these people coming through the system. So the leadership recruitment pool needs to be re-examined. It's a responsibility not only for a sitting governor, it's a responsibility for everybody. We need to go back to the basics. We need to re-examine all those who step up to the plate to be considered for leadership. But looking at my background, having worked in multinational institutions that are renowned for global best practices, I'll tell you that you can take that to the bank when we run a fair, independent system that will respect all the norms and values. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your question is a two-pronged question. One, the state assemblies, and secondly, the local government autonomy. In 2011, I was elected Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps in what every Nigerian today appreciates to be the most audacious effort by a group of Nigerians to take the bull by the horn and take their will by themselves. We resisted then any imposition by the executive to elect for us our leaders. That today is a historical fact. Consequently, we proceeded in the House, and by virtue of my being Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, I was appointed Chairman of the House Committee on Constitutional Review. What I did for that legislature was to embark on an ambitious program. When we started what we called a People's Public Session, we sent every member that was elected from the 360 constituencies down to their localities to meet with the stakeholders. Our desire was to have a true people's constitution, because the constitution today in practice, we believe, was forged on us by the military with civilian input. So we felt that for us to have a constitution that we practice, it has to be a people's constitution. Now, one fundamental thing we did in that period was that we got stakeholders to discuss at their levels by themselves what must be done to make our country safe. One thing that was clear was local government autonomy, and the other was independence of legislature. So we voted, and the results of those votings were clear. We put it out in the media. Unfortunately, the president at the time did not sign. Now, I have a draft bill. When I become governor of Lagos State, one of the first things I'll do will be to put through an executive bill which the legislature will have no difficulty going to crack their brain. One, to give grant autonomy to local governments in terms of functionality, fiscally, and of course, operationally. Because it's not just about the fiscal aspect of it, but you also talk about the administrative aspect of it, so that local government areas can be autonomous. In the course of it, they create jobs. In the course of it, now people become accountable, because government is now at the very base, where a people's parliament can evolve from the very grassroots. That's about local government, and that's about constitution. Don't forget that my party, the People's Democratic Party, enunciated what they call development centers. Those development centers, again, we're going to revive them when we become governor of this state, and by the grace of God, our party is primed. We have taken it up at the leadership level of the party and adopted it as a modus which we are going to implement. We are hopeful that we are going to have control of the state assembly, and so that won't be a problem, because it's a party position which we are going to implement. As for the state legislature, I've spent my time and life in public life and public service. Consequently, I'm going to bring to bear my understanding and knowledge. I've served as an aide in the executive, I've served as an aide in the legislature. I became a member, I became chief whip, which is an officer, and then became a presiding officer. So I've seen it all. So I understand what to do, where to do. Consequently, I will ensure, when I'm governor of the state, that we shall practically ensure that you have first-line charge for the legislature, so that the legislature can practice true independence. And when that is done, the core function of the legislature, which is oversight, lawmaking, and appropriation will be done, put in place. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please. No clapping.
Now, the only way you can ensure independence of the legislator or any other arm of government is by ensuring that you have government by rule of law. We are going to govern by rule of law. We are going to lead by rule of law. Now, the Constitution clearly makes provision for separation of powers. And until every arm of government is made to function independently of the other arm, then we cannot have a true separation. Now, we have to look at what are the impediments. What are the impediments? The first thing is to make sure that there is financial autonomy for the legislature. They should have their funds, they should control their funds, and they should not be made to run cap in hand to the executive. When the legislator is made to run cap in hand to the executive, we cannot secure their independence, and they cannot function very well, effectively. So we are going to make sure that they have everything that they require that is made provision, that is provided for them in the Constitution. Their independence. Make sure they get their money to function, and they don't have to run cap in hand to the legislator. So we are going to make sure that we secure that.
And to my disappointment, I came to discover that we have some people who came here with more than 20, more than 30 persons. And that is the beginning of process of law. We cannot put in laws, whereas we are not ready to go and abide by those laws. The value system of the executive, determines to a great extent the implementation of the separation of powers as established in our Constitution. I want to also
order please.
I want to also let us know this, that every single thing that goes on in the legislature has to do with the decision of the executive in tandem with whatever the legislature has put in place. Let's look at the issue of the local government. I came to discover that the joint account of the local government and the state government that was passed into law by His Excellency Chief Atiku Denwa has not been implemented up to this, the 5% has not been implemented up to this point. As long as finances, because whosoever that is in charge of the finances will definitely control every other thing. My government, when I'm voted in under the Change Advocacy Party, must definitely give attention to the issue of separation of powers. Let's take for instance, we have a very raw leadership system. A lot of young persons, a lot of people who are coming out to become members of the House of Assembly from different political parties. If we actually do a screening of those people, we find out that many of them have this distorted value system. And as long as someone has a distorted value system, he's going to carry it out into the workplace. My commitment is to make sure that every law that is passed, that is going to be passed by the legislature, must be carried out in accordance with the value systems, in accordance with the vision of the Change Advocacy Party, which our commitment is to make sure that human beings take advantage of the provisions of government. We have close to about 673 autonomous communities, and we have these traditional rulers scattered everywhere. My commitment is to make sure that we keep and make sure that the traditional rulers be part of the governance so that we can separate the local government and the state government. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Next question, we will move over to economy. It is a common knowledge in Imo State as of today that there has been little or no foreign investment in the state since after the administration of Sam Mbakwe. The main political candidates have all in the past promised providing enabling environment in order to attract. If you become the next governor, what are those essential factors or structures that you consider as enabling environment that may attract investment into Imo State?
And create an enabling environment to attract foreign investment. Thank you. NMPP is Mbakwe's party. Mbakwe ruled under Nigeria. Mbakwe ruled under Nigeria People's Party. And NMPP is New Nigeria People's Party. Whatever Mbakwe did in his time, we are going to do more. Now, having said that, I think it was sometime in July last year, I was at Westminster, and this very question was put to me. And my answer to that was simple. I think it was MP Ben that put that question to me at Westminster. And I told him clearly that the only way to create an enabling environment is to ensure that we build confidence and trust of the investors. How do we do that? By making sure that we rule by law, rule of law. We must make laws and make sure that we stick to the laws. We don't have to waver. Today you make a law and you as a government cannot obey the law. It's going to create doubts in the minds of investors. The moment they can be sure that if they put their money here and all you agree with them, that you're not going to change the laws, they will have confidence. But going further, there are basic things that we have to look at that will give investor confidence. For instance, the man who wants to bring his $50 million into Nigeria to come and invest in Imo State, he's going to look around and say, well, if he puts his money here and he's living here and he falls ill, what is going to happen to him? Are there hospitals where he can easily get treatment before you talk of flying him abroad? As when he finds that that does not exist, like we don't have now, they are not going to bring their money. When they come in here, they want to see that they can move around freely, that our roads are motorable. But I can tell you what we have now, the state of our roads, it's a violation of our human rights. So they want to make sure that the basic infrastructure, the basic things that they need when they come in here are available. The moment they have that, they are going to have confidence and they are going to bring their money into this place. So we are going to make sure we have the hospitals, make sure that if their children have to school here, that the schools are brought to standard where they can bring their children to go to school here. Once we have those amenities and infrastructures, they are going to bring in their money to invest here. So we are going to make sure that rule of law exists. Two, the necessary amenities are put in place and infrastructure, and you see them bringing in their money. And finally, security. The moment we can guarantee that people can...
You're running out of time. You're out of time, just run up. Thank you.
Assertion that there has been little or no foreign investment inflow in Imo State in the last couple of years is correct. We're essentially running a KK and hotel economy. Virtually in all sectors, we have not been able to put the state in a bankable position. To create a bankable investment climate, what we need to do is First of all, we must adopt global best practices in management and administration. Today, Imo State runs one of the most opaque accounting systems. I'm not sure there's anybody who knows for a fact how much we earn in terms of revenue. The ones that are reported, and I give you some quick statistics, doing a peer group comparison, we're in the southeast, 5 states. In the southeast, beginning from Enugu State, Enugu generates the highest IGR figures of 1.5 billion a month, followed by Anambra State that generates about 1.3 billion, then followed by Abia State that generates about 1.2 billion, then Ebonyi 980 million. Imo still records a paltry, scandalous 450 million naira monthly. Now, if you factor in the fact that we are an oil producing state with 163 oil wells in 12 host communities, we receive 13% oil derivation fund, then you don't need any soothsayer to tell you there's a problem. So when you have that kind of opaque reporting system, there is virtually no board of internal revenue to speak of in Imo State. So it is not a wonder that we do not have foreign investments coming. But what do we even mean by foreign investments? We don't have to attract blue chip multinational companies to say we have foreign investments. When the introductory remarks were made, I listened attentively and I gathered that we have 50,000 Imolites scattered across Europe. One of the things we have enunciated in our blueprint, which is called the Imo Marshall Plan, is the introduction of the Imo Investment Bond. This is a very innovative investment instrument that is targeted at Ndimo in the diaspora. With it, we are going to unleash the quantum of investable funds that are stashed away across the borders. What this means is when we enthrone a prudent fiscal system, whereby we will, every quarter we'll publish the accounts, the books, we throw the books open, then we should also be able to implement simple overhaul of our infrastructural system, like was discussed. It's like a chicken and egg situation. If you have a basic infrastructural system that works, then chances are that you can use it to recalibrate your revenue earning capacity, and investors would come. So these are some of the key areas that we would very quickly touch. Then the other point is foreign investments too are bedfellows with development, prudence. Imo State does not have a tenders board. In fact, most state governments in Nigeria do not have a tenders board. So when you have a foreign investor, it could even be a development partner, it could even be a multilateral agency that is interested in funding or putting projects in the state. When there is no value for money, then investors won't come. Development partners will not come. One of the first things we will do under an SDP administration in the first 100 days is to establish the Imo State Tenders Board. It may be there in our legal statutes, but I know that it would have garnered dust and nobody implements that.
You have 30 seconds.
So in summary, there must be a very prudent, a very transparent, very accountable mechanism for administering the state to attract foreign investors.
Thank you. Of figures and statistics and ideas. What I think is very fundamental is capacity, character, pedigree, antecedents. That gives confidence to governance. I believe that for any investor to feel at home, he must be confident in the administration. Over the years, my campaign slogan has been my word, my bond. Mr. Moderator, I am certain that because of the decline in our lives, decline in infrastructure and institutional development, one thing that we're going to take clear and at the fulcrum of my government will be good governance. Good governance is all defining, if you understand, rule of law will be very fundamental. In good governance, transparency, like my brother said, opaqueness in government is an issue. So I am known to be transparent, and we're going to run a very transparent system so that people can appreciate what they're doing. When you run a transparent system of governance, now it gives confidence and hope to people. When I was in the United States in early December, I shared with our brothers in diaspora that we're going to float an Igbo diaspora board. Now that one is something we're going to do because we began discussion with the state of Maryland because we believe we'll win the election. And when we win, it's important for you to identify those that can partner with you in significant areas of technology. I plan that given our capacity, the Igbos are naturally very industrious. So we are known that our sense of industry is huge. So part of what we plan to do is to make Owerri an IT hub in the entire Nigerian Federation, and that is very possible. When you do that, you have created wealth. When you do that, you have also created a lot of jobs. But fundamentally, Mr. Moderator, power is at the core of any economic development. And so I have taken my time to understand the entire power matrix, provision of energy. If you go to Idato, for instance, Idato North and South, there were 37 industries that were functional before the advent of the current administration. All of them today have gone moribund. That gives you cause to worry. Lots of loss of jobs. So when I come in, I am aware that the federal government is building an IPP plant of about 1,100 megawatts capacity at Ebema. Now that project is yet to be completed. I will use again my vast network of contacts, understanding and knowledge of the federal processes to make sure that Imo State government partners with federal government to complete the Ebema power plant. When they do, it will now facilitate transmission. Luckily, we'll have a transmission station at Ebu, but that's the only transmission station that works today in Imo State. So what do we intend to do? Government is trying to upgrade it. A project that Pivot Engineering is handling. Now, so we will fast track transmission processes. There's another substation that's going on at Bombi saying yet another attack of one. So I intend to partner with the federal government to ensure that they rejig and complete these power plants. By the time they complete the transmission stations and the enabling substation that we have, it will be easy for you now to begin to distribute. When you do that, now an investor would see that there's a source of power, which reduces the cost of doing business. And so that is that you have attracted basically an investor to come in Imo. They will see that they will make profits. That is fundamental. Two, because they have confidence in you at the helm of affairs. I mean, if you go to do business with a foreigner, he would easily check you out. And when they understand that you're a man
30 seconds.
Yes. What is that, a man of true character, they will invest in this state. So security, we're going to take that seriously because we will try to get everybody involved in security of the lives and properties of the state as we practice openness, as we practice transparency, and we practice due process in governance. Investment will flow in our states.
No clapping. Please, ladies and gentlemen, we must not.
Sad things in Africa. When I went to the conference, he had brought together 700 men and women with the money, institutional money, and brought 45 companies from Africa and put them together for 3 good days. They were negotiating deals. At the end of the 3 days, they had raised $32 billion for the African companies. And as a smart thinker, I quickly asked, why did this happen? And I realized that it happened because Akilbe Adesina has integrity that is unprecedented, honor, competence, and goodwill. And I said to myself that no matter the amount of packaging we can have, if Imo State does not fall in the hand of a visionary leader with great capacity and integrity, nothing happens in international realm. Do you know that as I'm talking to you today, Imo State is at the center of 48 million people, southeast state. Imo State is a trigger state in the middle of where we are supposed to serve 48 million people across board. What does that mean? The opportunity is that Imo State is supposed to be the economic hub of the entire South and Southeast. We have a population of 48 million people. Whether we like it or not, that is an investment market already. That's a big market. Anybody who's an investor anywhere in the world, whether they like it or not, Imo State is a destination for investment. As a governor, first thing I like to do is to ensure that the 3 economic zones, basically we have what we call industrial zones, industrial clusters, for light manufacturing. It is, once the deal is set, I already have the contacts, I already have the discussions. In 6 months, I can assure you, we will reorganize our industrial setup such that investment will flow in as quickly as possible, because the name Linus Okorie in the international system signifies trust. A lot of the people will come because Linus Okorie is governor. And when they come, they bring their investment portfolios. And guess what? When we talk about investment, we'll only talk about external investors. What about the local people from Imo State who live in Lagos, who have investments in Kano, all over the country? What we need to do is to ensure that those industrial zones are powered. We can make it happen. And once that is in place, guess what? If you power this and there are no skills, we have to immediately start a skills training system, technical training system that will ensure that 27,000 people per year will do what? We have the requisite skills in manufacturing, in oil and gas, in all the sectors, so that when the companies come here, they already have skills available to work within the place, people from our place. And that's one of the things I like to do. But guess what again? Imo State has
you got 30 seconds, Your Excellency.
Imo State has a lot of people with big ideas. Guess what? Access to finance is critical. Anybody with a beautiful idea, trust me, we will create an enterprise development fund. You will find money to do your business because that money is available. It will not be stolen, it will be available. And then we will distribute it to the people because we have guarantee for the money. And then the women in the villages, 1,000 women per local government, 27,000 of them, give them small money to start up business.
Okay, your time is up.
The economy will jump because the money is hand of the people. That's how it works.
Thank you very much.
The political structure and the legal system. Before anybody can actually put his money on ground for any economic advancement, such kind of person will need to understand how the legal system works. What if I have a disagreement with the government? How am I going to make sure that I sue the government to recover my money? Because law has always remained the foundation of economic advancement. Because anybody that you, thank you so much for everything you want to bring to come to Imo State. As long as there is no working legal system, there is always an agreement between the foreign investor and the state. And as long as the legal system is not working, currently the legal system is sick. There is what is called private partnership. When it has to do with private partnership, there is always a conflict of laws, private company partnership, and then local platform. And as long as the culture of the people, as long as there is no technological involvement in the state, people wouldn't come to invest. Let me also talk about the issue of personality, the issue of character. The world has become a global village. If you're corrupt, people know. If you're straightforward, people know. We can actually pinpoint and Google and then know the antecedent of the persons. A lot of persons might come up with wonderful manifestos and statements that will always say that I am this, I can do this, I can attract this. But I want to let us know that you can never put your money in the hands of anybody that has an antecedent of corruption. I want us to know that in 2019 election, when I'm elected as the next governor of Imo State under the Change Advocacy Party, I have a pedigree of character. Someone can actually trace where I'm coming from. I've lived in this town for 41 years running. And I understand every nook and cranny of those things. When it has to do with the issue of economy, look at our statistics. Currently, 2017, we have Imo State is indebted. Our debt weight is close to about 120 billion. And before anybody will come to invest, the person has to look at the papers. How do we service these debts? We're going to make sure that we put in place over 83 small and medium-scale industries from where we could actually tap. I have done it. I have a lot of young persons who are working with me. We develop what is called IDEA. IDEA means Independent Development Energy Alternative. Independent Development Energy Alternative is an alternative energy source, because as long as there is no power in the system, forget anything that has to do with industries. Thank you so much for bringing people from Europe. I have a lot of my friends who have been talking together and we're discussing about the issue of investing in Imo. But I've come to realize also that we have generated close to about 1,800 young persons in Imo State who are doing their bit to make sure they contribute towards the advancement of the economy of Imo State. Once I become the next governor of Imo State under the Change Advocacy Party, we're going to do what is called non-fiscal private partnership investment. Non-fiscal means that at all points where these resources are brought into the state, we're going to look at the papers and say, this is our debt weight. We need about 30 billion. Any good government that wants to transform Imo State must give attention to making sure that every year at least 30 billion is put into our debt weight to clear the system. When I become the next governor of Imo State, I'm going to make a commitment when it has to do with technological advancement. ICT is close to 1.6 trillion globally, and young persons the age of 45 years downwards are involved in ICT as long as Imo State is concerned. So my commitment is to make sure that we give attention to these cottage industries, which are not, as it were, so much capital intensive, where people can actually start their business in the
30 seconds. 30
and from there we can
seconds.
actually grow the economy and service our debts. Thank you so much.
I will do that is because this event is organized by Imo Community Europe. The issue of foreign investment is very dear to our hearts because we know that we can attract foreign investment to this country. And I am very glad that you've all touched very clearly, very effectively on those things that we already know, those fundamental that investors will be looking for. Notably, there needs to be skills, ready-made skills on the ground. Because if an investor is going to establish in Imo State, they would like some skills ready that can kickstart their program before they can train others. So, there is need for capacity building and skills acquisition. So if you do become the governor, believe me, Imo Community Europe will be there to extend hands to you, provided there is these enabling factors that you have enumerated. And one of the most important ones is the rule of law. The Europeans, the Americans, and the civilized society would not want to bring investment to any country, to any part of the world, if the investment would be at risk ab initio. So there's need to be respect for rule of law in Imo State. There is also this requirement for integrity, which most of you have touched. Integrity is very vital, and I hope that all Imolites are listening. Because if the next governor emerges and there is a question on integrity, then it will still be difficult to attract foreign investment to this state. So I thank you dearly, Your Excellencies. I am very, very glad that the world is watching, and I'm very glad that the answers you've given, those of them watching outside the shores of this country would know that Imo State, they've got the capacity, they've got the men that can do the work, and they've got the people they can trust. And thank you very much for your answers. Ladies and gentlemen, can we clap for the Excellencies, please? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. We're talking about attracting investments in the cities and so on, but I want to move towards the rural side of our economy. The Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative revealed that 27% of Nigerians are destitute and 85% of Nigerians live on below $2 per day. By extension, 57% of Imo citizens are poor and live on below $2 per day. The poverty level in Imo is more prevalent in rural areas. Rural poor is also creating urban poor, thus causing urban poor. My question is, what programs will you bring in your tenure in government to promote economic development in rural areas? I'll kick off with PDP.
Industrialization. It becomes easy for someone to stay in his village If I have an option, I'm an investor, I want to stay in my village because I'm not going to pay rent. I say the cost of land and the cost of doing business is cheap because you can also deal very easily with labor force. Part of what I intend to do when I become governor is first to reactivate technical colleges which have been in existence in Imo State today, which are all moribund. Now, when you get those technical colleges back on board, as you're now enhancing skill development, which is very possible, which is very practical. Not just revamping them, but re-equipping them, and then exposing our people who want to toe the technical line to have opportunity to build their skills, acquire more knowledge, and we can not only use them in Imo, but we also export. Now, but fundamentally, sir, once we take care of generation of power, take care of transmission, and now we get to distribution of power to rural areas. So once you increase business in rural areas, you have multiplied the economy of those businesses. Now, the local government system, if it's working, and the people have faith and confidence that they have a stake in what is going on, and that partakers in local administration, it becomes also easy for them to have confidence in what you do. That, for me, would take good care of rural-urban migration and make rural areas to be working. It is part of our programs to have cottage industries in every local government areas of the state. And when we do that, it now becomes very possible for us to retain persons in their localities and grow the economy in those areas. Now, we have 19 general hospitals in Imo, which were functional before the present administration. I understand that this government today is building about 27 buildings, which I wouldn't call hospitals. So part of what we'll do will be to get those hospitals back to work by re-equipping them and then getting staff. Once you have Medicare, once you have education, you have power, now you have good governance, it is a lot easier for people to domicile within their rural areas and then function, because you become very convinced that labor will be cheap, access to power will be easy, and then it makes it a lot easier for you to proceed, feel at home, and add up to the economy. So that fundamentally is how I intend to tackle the issues of rural urban migration and then dealing with the desires of our people. We also plan, like I said, to reactivate admin centers. When we do that, we create jobs at those levels, which also falls in line with the local government administration. And the funds are clear. We generate about, every local government area confederation I can get over 100 billion, or about 100 billion naira every month. And so how are those funds utilized? In the present times, we hear these funds coming, but we don't know where the funds go to and what they're utilized for. And so when there is a proper check and balance, and the state legislature works in tandem with the local government administration and performs functions, because the constitution of our republic prescribes that local government shall oversight the local government councils. So local government councils cannot just function with sense of impunity. Now, because today we practice democracy in breach, people don't understand it. So I will restore rule of law, I will restore order and sanity in the country, and I'm known to have courage. I'm known to have character. And so when people talk about integrity, it's a lot easy. And so the name Emeka Ihedioha is a name that is associated, obviously, with integrity. And Mr. Moderator, fundamentally, I think it's important for us to appreciate the fact that for us as a state, we've gone down so badly that we require the best at this point in time, the most prepared, the person who appreciates, because you don't just begin to learn on the job. One thing I have going for me is that I can always say, I have done. For my colleagues here, 20 seconds. They will say, I want to. So for me, it is I have done and I will continue to do.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Garbaging out. Because we are looking to create value. We are looking to create wealth. And this is precisely my grounds. This is exactly what brought me to politics. Because I noticed that the mindset of most of our present-day political actors is allocation dependency. They care about how to share the cake, not how to bake it. We're talking about lifting people out of poverty. And the big question is, how are we going to do it? It's not how much money that is available and how we can build this and that, because there is no money. We have a debt stock of close to 200 billion naira. If you put in the 120 billion debt management office figures, plus the non-concessionary loans with banks, with commercial banks. Now, the question is, we have an opportunity in agriculture. Agriculture has always been our mainstay. Beginning from 1954, specifically 1954, the then Eastern Regional Government of Nigeria earned 54 million pounds from the export of palm oil, just palm oil. Today, you can imagine if we had continued on that trajectory, how much money we would have earned now. So my simple plan is, we are going to change our priority. We are going to unleash the value chain that is embedded in the agricultural sector. Interestingly, there is something called AGWA. AGWA is the African Growth and Opportunities Act, which is a $2.7 billion initiative that was approved by the United States government. It's meant for African countries to be able to live in some sort of poverty using their natural produce. Can I have a microphone?
T, right. 1, 2, 1, 2. T. 1, LOT. LOT, T. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. LOT.
So the simple plan is, we are going to unleash the enormous value chain we have in agriculture. I talked about the AGWA, the African Growth and Opportunities Act, that is worth about $2.7 billion. We in Nigeria have only been able to access $9 million of it, which is a pittance. Now, what we need to do is, we need to go back to agriculture. We have 4,000 hectares of oil palm in Ada Palm. Those 4,000 hectares of oil palm, if properly managed, if we make the right investments, we can turn it into a full-blown oil refinery that can literally take our use out of the unemployment market. We have cassava in every part of Imo State. We have the arable farmland. $350 million is generated each year by Nigeria from cassava and cassava derivatives. The question is, of this figure, how much of it emanates from Imo State? Then, you again look at all the other opportunities we have. We have the GIS, which is the Geographic Information System that we have not been able to tap into. We have huge revenue leakages. In this state, for instance, we're in the Christmas and New Year period. The bureaucracy is closed for most of the time because people go on holidays for 3 weeks. And when they go on holidays, nothing functions. Investors cannot even be able to access data. People cannot access basic services. Now, we have huge tracts of rubber plantation in Emabiam, in Ogwiti, and in other places in Imo State that have been lying fallow since the 60s. In Nigeria today, we do not have a single rubber tire manufacturing plant. The Michelins of this world have since left our shores. The Dunlops have departed, but we have the basic raw materials, the rubber latex, which we have comparative advantage in Emabiam, for instance. It's lying there in the white. Nobody sees it as a valuable resource. Yet, we have people who are roaming the streets without jobs. You look at our youths, go to Naze here, where you have the Obosisi, the timber mill. We produce sawdust, tons of it, every day. What do we do with it? We burn it. We know that sawdust is the major raw material for producing particle board. 85% of the furniture that is imported into Nigeria from China and Asian countries is made from particle board and sawdust. But every Christmas, We spent millions of naira on pyrotechnics, buying street lights, buying street decorations. All of these monies can be used to rejig the MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises. Imo State has not keyed into the Bank of Industry initiative. We are the only state in the southeast that does not have a Bank of Industry presence. And by the way, we know that statutorily, all commercial banks in Nigeria are expected to make a reserve 5% of their profit before tax is put into a pool that is used to establish entrepreneurship, the Bank of Industry. So these are some of the low-hanging fruits we can easily pluck to chase poverty away from our shores. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, the point we're trying to make here, I come to the table as an expert for human capital development for 25 years, yet I'm 44 years old. What does that mean? What it means is that as Linus Okore as governor, all the monies that used to disappear into private pockets, for whatever reason, will no longer disappear. That's the first point of view. 100% money for the people must be for the people. That is established. Number two, remember there's what we call comparative advantage. Every local government today has something that it is great about. Am I correct? Every local government has its strength. First of all, I have a document that has the strength of all local government areas. So when I am discussing investment with external forces, internal forces, development finance, all of that, I want to engage an independent elected officers, chairmen who have been elected by law, not appointed at all. When you collaborate with them, sit on the table, I can show you, you can create wealth creation programs that can turn around the lives of people at the local level. Take for instance, number one, I mentioned that the women in the local area, 1,000 of them, quote me, read my lips, 1,000 of them per year from the 27 local government, 27,000 women will have access to finance to be able to do their businesses at the local level so they can take care of their children. If you put money in the hands of women, you know what happens? Right. That's the first thing first. The second thing is that we are looking for skills. Do you know that we can categorize the quality of young people who are living in the villages? Number one, there are graduates who have graduated from school 5 years, 7 years ago, no job, and they are living with their mothers in the villages. When you want to get them out of poverty, what do? You train them and do what? Send them out to get jobs. I can market them, train them and market them. That's my background. The other element I would create is that in the villages, we look for tilers. One day I came back home. I wanted to fix my house. And one person said it's my relative. He's a tiler. I gave him the job to do. I returned with my wife excitedly to come into a house that is perfect. By the time I went to the door, I realized that just from the door, the tile are already peeling off. What it means is that those human beings in the villages, you can categorize them, plumbers, tilers, mechanics, and create such an institutional framework like Singapore did in 1992, and create so much energy for training. 1,000 of them per local government area under my administration per year will be trained, and then will fill the local capacity and export them to the West African region. What happens is that they are professionals, they earn money, they bring back home. Ndibosi, you know what I'm saying? That Akurulo Megane. Absolutely. So what we're talking to you about is that, and then the last thing I like to do, precisely, I work with a group called George Fraser Power Network in America. It is the biggest gathering of black Americans. Black Americans are looking for DNA tests. They are conducting DNA tests coming to Africa. Some of them are from Nigeria. I will create a program that will ensure that every community, I can adopt one person successful in the diaspora who is a black, who is looking for a place to stay in Nigeria. Once they come into Nigeria, the Nigerian system in local villages, guess what they do? They will create what? They will create schools. They will create enterprises. Yes, it has happened in Ghana. It has happened in Ghana here. It can happen in Nigeria. 300 697 community can have one person from the diaspora that is coming to invest in those local communities. It is possible. Open our minds. It is possible. We can make it happen.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll have access to finance.
Absolutely.
Would you mind telling the audience we have at this moment where that finance or how that access will be provided?
Great. Very, very simple. The political class, they steal 75% of money meant for the public. They are into private pockets. I can prove it anytime, any day. Because the truth of the matter is that the 75% of the money stolen, 50% of the money stolen, if that money is not stolen, you can, what does it take? Calculate it. Even if you give them 100,000 per person, calculate it over a period of time. The money that you can generate, it pays.
Or doing away the style of stealing money. We don't have facts. There are no facts at this moment supporting that claim that money is stolen. We don't have facts. 1 minute. I rely totally on funding local industrialization program purely on stopping embezzlement. Will be quite speculative.
Are you asking for more? Let me give you more.
No, I'm just reminding you. It is very important that these, Your Excellencies, that you take into account the need to invest in rural areas. That's why I'm coming back on this. And one of the things that is stopping those people in the rural areas is access to finance. Access to finance.
Absolutely.
So if you're able to work out, come up with a model that is workable, that is not speculative, and I'm sure it's possible, it's doable, rather than relying on the stolen money or whatever. So if you can do that, spend some more time, I think we will be able to have...
So what do you want me to explain? I'm not speculating.
Because of
facts.
Because of want of time,
facts.
We will just move on, but I just remind on that.
We'll come on to that later on, I promise you. NNPP, please, on this issue of rural industrialization.
Thank you. Your question borders on destitution and poverty in rural areas. Now, I have a very simple, practicable Imo State to come with something to the table in agriculture. The template we have is simple. Every local government area, be it Njaba, Mesu, Wangere, all of them, they have to identify one food item that they are going to cultivate for Imo State. That is what we want to do. Now, Njaba may take pepper, for instance, and Wangere may take onions or potato, whatever it is. Every local government area must be made to come with something to the table. Now, as a government, what we are going to do... Order. Now, as a government, what we are going to do is to make sure we create the enabling environment and also provide all the machineries and equipment to cultivate these items. Now, after we have done that, we are going to, through our marketing and commodity board, ensure that whatever is cultivated at harvest, that we purchase them and store in our storages. The idea is that if you had mango in February, you need mango in November, you should be able to have mango. We want to do that by providing storages in all the local government areas. Now, we are not going to stop there. We are going to go a step further by adding value to the process. How do we add value? We are going to establish cottage industries that will process these items and into finished goods. For instance, the mango you get when you harvest mango, what happens is that in your houses, in the villages, you have a mango tree. and by the time you harvest them, you take them to the market, you sell about 50, maybe out of a harvest of 400. You take the rest home. You put out some the next year outside, and they buy a few more. By the end of 3-4 days, the whole thing is overripe and gone bad. So we will establish, for instance, a cottage industry that will process mango into mango juice. Now this is where our children who read mechanical engineering, food and nutrition, and other related courses will now secure employment in our rural areas. We plan to have 2 of these cottage industries in each of the 27 local government areas of Imo State. Now we are not going to stop there. We want to establish a poultry like this Mbakwe did in Afutu. We are going to spend about 100 million naira each in each of the 27 local government areas.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Sorry?
30 seconds. 30.
No, I have more than that. There was so much noise and you asked us to stop. You can't stop me.
Order.
We are going to spend 100 million naira each to establish a poultry in each of the 27 local government areas, and another 100 million naira each to establish a bakery in each of the 27 local government areas. What I am promising Ndimo during our regime, during my leadership in Imo State, is that Agane during Asoji Nulai. When somebody visits you, if you don't have money for drink or drink at all, we will revert to our old system where your wife will rushing Auruji, Yanoba, Yawata, Yonyobi Aberango. Can be worried to ask. Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you're listening. The program that we are going to put in place for the restoration of the local government is what I call the HEAL program. HEAL is an acronym, H-E-A-L. H talks about health. You cannot talk about revamping the local government without giving attention to health. Let me tell you something. Something happened 3 days ago, about 1 week ago. My younger brother, a banker at Enugu, his little child of 2 years became sick because of little fever and all the rest of them. And in my place, Umeze 2, a member, they were asking and looking for one syrup for the 1-year-old child. Do you know that I had to send somebody from this Owerri to send such kind of syrup of 750 naira to the village to safeguard the young boy? You can imagine a lot of persons in the local government who would have actually died because of that right now. My commitment H is that I'm going to make sure that the community health centers will start functioning. We are talking about the local government. For us to reduce the local migration to the town, there must be the same accessibility of health that someone can get in Imo State, in Owerri town. You can also get it in Ejemekuru. The second part of it is education. We have a very big challenge because a lot of persons are leaving the villages and coming to town. That's why we have a lot of population. My government, under the HEAL program, will be committed to make sure that we draw an MOU with smart graduates with 2-1 and 2-2 from the 5 major universities in the state. And we're going to draw this MOU with these graduates. And because of this MOU that my government is going to have with them, we're going to post them anywhere of our choice. Before you know it, people migrate. Human capital is transported from the town to the villages. The third part of it is agriculture, which many of us have actually mentioned. Agriculture has remained the peak of transformation of a particular place. And the last one has to do with access to landed property. There's a young man here, and 1 or 2 of them, we went ahead at Etioha.
30 seconds.
You don't tell me 30 seconds because I'm watching the time. Yes, because you gave someone else more than that. Let me say this. That's what you have been doing. That's what you've been doing. At Etioha, let me say something. At Etioha, as I talk to you now, I have graduates who have landed properties at Etioha. If there's anybody here that is staying at Etioha, immediately the rains drop, you will find it difficult to get to Etioha. You cannot tell me you want to bring heaven and earth, bring Europe to a place where there is no accessible road. My government will make sure that these places that are the food basket of the state, like Onhaji, like Ngobala, it was so shocking that I discovered that Imo State imports close to about 30,000 bags of gari from Benin, from Delta states. And I was shocked. What is our Ngobala doing? What is our what is our Uguta area doing? My commitment when I become the next governor of Imo State under the Change Advocacy Party is the HEAL program. We're going to make sure that accessible health will be made available to people. Education shall revolve around the local government, so that anything you get in Owerri town, anything you can get at Olu, you can actually get it in the villages from the primary and the secondary school area. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. We're going to invite the next set of questions. We're getting a lot of murmurings in the background. People want to ask questions. I think it's appropriate that anybody who wants to ask questions should put it in writing, and then we select the appropriate.
I think we've done very well on economy. We move over to environment. My question goes like this. In a civilized system, waste disposal management often adds to the state and national economy by creating wealth, that is waste to wealth. Transferring waste from one location to the other has been witnessed in many states in Nigeria today. Is merely an expansion of pollution menace in our society. My question is, as the next governor of Imo State, how do you plan to improve on the existing waste disposal management system? If I start with the gentleman for CAP party.
In the area of recycling of plastic from its dead area, recycling back to products that can actually be used to produce another one. And I discussed with him, and he said that one of the challenges of the Nigerian government and one of the challenges of Africa is, or has to do with our inability to recycle our waste. One of the things I'm going to do when I become the next governor of Imo State is to employ the services of this professional who is from Mobtv, to be precise. And he has been doing this just scaffold industrial development in Lagos. And if you know Lagos too well, Lagos has a lot of waste. And this young man has actually made out a business from the waste recycling venture. Once I become the next governor of Imo State, we're not going to leave the waste recycling in the hands of one or two persons. If you go through Royce Road, those of us who know Royce Road, we'll find a lot of persons picking some bottles, empty cans of beers, and even the plastic bottle that we are making use of. My commitment is to make sure that we can recycle these products and we put them together and establish cottage industries that are involved in these polymer-centered products. I work with a lot of persons who did. I work with a lot of. All right, let's take a look at paper. We'll find out that the issue of paper recycling has become a very strong business as long as the European countries are concerned. It's a very simple thing. There is no hard and fast rule, there's no mathematics that is involved when it has to do with recycling. The simplest thing about recycling is just to make sure you put the necessary machineries on ground. Let's look at our the sewage disposal that is seen everywhere, where someone, after maybe your sewage is now filled up, you find people excavating it from the place and dumping it back into the compound. We're going to make sure we work with the environmental protection systems to make sure that each of this sewage that is being assumed from the sewage system will be put into the necessary recycling so that we can convert it to biogas, which has become a very fundamental energy source. When we put these things in place, it's going to solve a lot of problems as it relates to our environmental hazard. So when I become the next governor of Imo State, we're not going to see people dump refuse at MCC Road. We're not going to see people dump refuse at Ikenebu. We're not going to see people again dump refuse at Royce Road. We're not going to see people again dump refuse opposite Douglas, St. Paul's. We're going to make sure we create a system where we let people know. You know one thing about our people, there's a culture that when they discover that something does not have a monetary value, they can actually throw it away. But we're going to create that system to make sure that, please, look at your plastics, look at your beer containers, look at your sewage. You can actually bring it at this particular point in time and receive a little token. And immediately you do that, I'm telling you, there's going to be an organized sewage disposal, an organized sewage recycling in Imo State, waste products, plastic products. But immediately you say that, let's say for instance, aluminum, when somebody has finished building his house, before now, when people finish their houses, all those scraps from the aluminum roofing sheets, they will just throw it away. But when people have discovered that these materials can actually be recycled, these things can actually, people wait, you see a lot of Hausa boys and some Igbo boys who go around picking them and go around buying them from people and weighing them at a certain percentage. You discover that these people have now discovered that this is very important. And that's what our commitment when I become the next governor of Imo State, to make sure that these things will have monetary value. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are going to drop a blueprint for Imo State, economic development plan of 30 years that could be revised after 10 years. Now, when we do that, we will set the direction for how the economy of Imo State is going to run. And those of you in the diaspora will play a very good role at this economic summit. Now, as it regards to waste management, waste to wealth, when you look around, I see lorry loads of metal, waste metal, that is being taken from Imo State to other states in Nigeria. And now that is waste that is being generated here, that is moved to create wealth in other states in Nigeria. Now, during our regime, we are going to establish an industrial park. And when we do that, the waste that is generated in Imo State, we will have them recycled in our industrial park. That is one. And two, we are also going to make sure that we move from use of waste, we move to using waste to generate energy. That has been done and it has been tested and is being used in some climes as we speak presently. We are going to convert the waste that we generate to energy. And I have held discussions, very fruitful ones, and I have very good proposals in this regard. And we are going to do that as soon as we take over power. Now, we also want to make sure that during our time, in order to create, to have people access funds, we want to go into massive housing construction in Imo State, at least 5,000 houses. Now, people will own these houses with certificate of occupancies. With that, they can now access funds in the bank. That is what we want to do to enable them raise capital for whatever businesses they want to do. Again, those of them in the markets, we are going to build the markets and we are going to issue certificate of occupancy to the traders so that with the certificate of occupancy they have for their shops, they can also access funds for their businesses. These are what we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The candidate for Peter, my dear brothers and sisters, when I spoke earlier, my friend Linus Okorie said he made reference to the fact that he's happy. I said, I have. Because mine has been deep in service. It's not very easy to find yourself at very top level in governance for 12 years, for upward of 20 years, and you have remained steadfast, you have remained credible, you have remained undiminished. Rather, you have been a positive reference point. So I pride with my antecedents, I pride with my pedigree, I pride with my records. Now, your question simply is about our environment. And I want to strictly confine myself to the question you've asked. Mr. Moderator, it is a well-known fact that I was Chief Whip of the House of Representatives. I got the federal government to build or to begin the construction of a waste recycling plant, comprehensive waste recycling plant, which is ongoing right now, sited at Ilile in Ohaji-Ebwema local government area. No clapping, please, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Moderator, if I don't understand the import of this in the economy of our state, I wouldn't have initiated that project. And I kept funding that project until I left the National Assembly. If we had a responsive government in Imo, that project would have been completed. Because what happens? There is symbiotism in governance between the federal, the states, and local governments. And so, but because there's this link, we have had a problem, so that project is not completed. When I become governor of Imo State, Mr. Moderator, I will, because I know the issues, I understand where we are, I know what needs to be done, and I know what we have not done. So I will do what we have not done, and I will do what we need to do to ensure the completion of that waste recycling plant. And by the time we complete that, the rest is history. Now the rest is about collecting garbage. So I think I have addressed that matter. Mr. Moderator, I began a program to deal with the issues of Mori River and the affluence that goes into Mori River and its environs. By the grace of God, when I become governor of Imo State, in line with the environmental policy we're going to pursue, we will ensure that the purposes for which God gave us Mori, Otamiri, and Oramoroko River will be fully utilized to ensure that one, the ecosystem becomes useful to our economy. Mr. Moderator, I intend to set up a policy advisory council when I become governor of our state. This council will be made up of experts from within, and of course, you are brothers in diaspora, who would systematically, from time to time, look into government and government policies and programs for us to proceed. I want to remind my brothers and sisters where we are and what the issues are. Where are we? The state has been, and so we're owing a deluge of debt. So people, you need every support to get us out of the woods. So one thing that is very fundamental is confidence and knowledge. What is important is experience, which cannot wish away. Excellency, you got 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I will respect myself, Mr. Moderator, because I've delivered the goods. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. A few of them talked about setting up advisory boards and think tanks to lay out the way forward. What I want to say is this. Looking at the motley crowd of contestants, With all due respect, we have my brother to my left is a talk show host, and a motivational speaker. Next is a career politician. The other gentleman, with all due respect, a retired magistrate. The other gentleman is a lab scientist. I, Okeze, I'm an economist. I'm an investment banker. I am a creator of value. I cannot say that I am the final repository of knowledge, but what I say to you is that I have come to this task more than prepared. I am not going to waste one day assembling think tanks. We already have what I call the Imo Marshall Plan. First of all, looking at Imo State, we are a state of 5,288 square kilometers. 35% of Imo State is prone to soil erosion. We are a state where crude oil is harvested or mined in 163 locations, fields in 12 locations. And in all these centers, we have gas, natural gas that is fled from these activities. That is the biggest environmental disaster that happens on a daily basis in Imo State. We flare 55 million standard cubic feet of gas every day in Imo State, between Ohaji, Ebwema, and the Zombe. 55 million standard cubic feet of gas, if you extrapolate it, is equivalent of about 3,000 megahertz, which can give all the electricity the whole of Nigeria deserves. Now, we're talking about waste. How do we recycle waste? If we look at the 1960s, because those are the golden days of our time, of this part of the world, we had sanitary inspectors, we had forest guards, we had forest reserves. If it is about the environment, we must approach it in a holistic fashion. In the first 100 days, will bring back the forest guards. We are going to establish forest reserves. We are going to make sure that desertification or greening of our environment becomes a reality. We're going to bring back the sanitary inspectors. The waste we are talking about, sanitary inspectors will ensure that our waste are sorted into biodegradable and non-biodegradable. If we sort them appropriately, then it becomes easy to make investments in recycling. Today, we talk about data, attracting foreign investors. Nobody can tell you now, for instance, the quantum of biodegradable or recyclable waste we have in this part of the world. One of our core assets, the Oguta Natural Blue Lake, has become a receptacle for sewage in Imo State. Something that should have been a tourist attraction, something should have been a money spinner from tourism, has become a receptacle for sewage. That's one of the things we need to address within 30 days, not 100 days, 30 days. Now, 30 seconds. The investments we talk about in recycling is still tied to what we talked about before. If you don't, be it in waste recycling, be it in manufacturing, be it in agricultural production, if you have not been able to sanitize the macroeconomic scenario to bring about investable climate, to improve the ease of doing business, we will do precious little in attracting investment. So that is our #1 priority. That way, we can bring about the requisite investment that can sanitize the environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator.
And no clapping, ladies and gentlemen. Can we hear from the candidate?
My very good friend Okeze, when he was describing me, he said, I'm a talk show host and a motivational speaker. That's what he said. But it will interest you to know that Linus Okore is the first leadership development expert in Nigeria, modern leadership development expert. I train the military, I train top agents of government across the world. My job, I'm one of the highly celebrated in the world. If you have your own, you should be proud of your own. Linus Ogori is the voice. Now,
environment, please.
For my friend, you spoke very well. Listen, please, my friend spoke very well. He has knowledge on economy, fantastic. It will be very good. When I become governor, I'm sure Commissioner for Finance will suit him. Trust me. Trust me. He will do a good job at it. Trust me. Trust me. And then the leadership coach.
Your Excellency.
So the question is, so what I'd like to say, I will ask,
can I interrupt you a bit?
I want to answer.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, we need to answer the questions. Your Excellency, right to the issue.
The moderator, please can you protect me so I can go forward? Please, thank you.
I'll do it for you, but please take it straight from that. Gentlemen and ladies, please let's have some time for this gentleman to address us. Thank you.
The point is this. I'd like to address the question from a total policy perspective for my tourism program. Imo State, in my thinking, qualifies to be a tourism hub of Nigeria. And if it must be so, it means that Imo State has to be a clean state in all ramifications. And so therefore, it requires a lot of planning and replanning to be able to first of all identify where are we now. Are we satisfied with what we have? It's a no-no. Therefore, if it's a no-no, if you're talking about cleaning our cities, you also be talking about cleaning, taking away those who are insane from the public view. Let me tell you what Ethiopia did. Ethiopia, as a country, decided on an aggressive waste management system because they wanted to build a tourism base and industrial system as well. What did they do? They ensured that they planned a system whereby every waste generated was geared towards reproduction into power generation. That's what they did. So today, the industrial zones in Ethiopia is powered by the enormous waste generated from the system. Nigeria is filled with a lot of waste. Imo State, in fact, you can't find waste. Waste are everywhere. So in my government, first thing first is that I want to clean the city. When I clean the cities, and set up new cities, I'm going to conduct a very powerful study by all the experts necessary in this game. We want to see where Owerri is right now. Can we take the issue of building new cities seriously? We can actually grow in such a way that when we take a new city, say around the Gopala area, for instance, or New Port Harcourt Road, what happens is that all the persons who want to actually live in that area will move in that area, and guess what? It's going to be a private sector driven initiative. So what the government does is to create an enabling environment for that to be able to happen. So my job is to supervise the process. I want a total overhaul system whereby it will be clean and green in all ramifications. And guess what? Even in Uguta, where we find ourselves, Uguta Lake precisely becomes that center of the hub that I'm talking about. So what we just do is that the experts, I am not the expert, I can own up to that. But what I will do is to ensure that the experts, I sit with them, come up with a blueprint. I will execute it to the fullest because I'm an executor. I like to get it done to the fullest.
Time up. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Moving for two minutes. 2 minutes only, just for reference purposes.
questions. Thank you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, I think they deserve a round of applause for the questions asked. The reason why we're limiting the answers for two minutes is because we've got a lot of questions here we need to address. Now, we touched on this issue earlier regarding diaspora. The point is, before the war, the eastern region was the fastest growing economy. There's no doubt Owerri has changed in terms of hotels and tourism and so on and so forth. But from a diaspora perspective, in terms of remittance, last year, $25 billion were remitted to Nigeria. 80% to the south of England, south of Nigeria, and 60% from southeast. How do you intend to partner with the diaspora in terms of economic development of Imo State? PDP.
National Press Club, where I had an international press conference, and we discussed issues of collaboration and cooperation. First, it is my desire that when I'm governor, I will set up desks in various major cities or major countries in the world where our people live. That will help us. One, for them to appreciate how government is working and appreciate their collaboration. It will enable us to deliberately take stock and have a data bank and database of our citizens in diaspora in different parts, their various vocations, professions, desires, and what they need to do, and where they can partner with our states. And Mr. Moderator, you know as much as I do know. And I've said it doesn't help us to speak and talk grammar. Talk is cheap, but doing is yet a different thing. And I said, for me, it's about confidence. It's about pedigree. It's about antecedents. And one thing I have promised every Imo citizen that I will do is that I'll give our people a pride of place. I'll restore the dignity of the Imo man. I'll make you feel like coming back to Imo again. Mr. Moderator, when we set up this desk, I will put in place an environment that you can be confident in. I will take stock of what we have, where we are, and where we need to be. Then it becomes very easy for our diasporans to begin to identify what they want to do, how they want to play, and what we need to do for them. In that sense, you have collaboration. Now, to proceed with that, I will use my understanding and knowledge of government to again push through an executive bill that will get the legislature to buy into it so that it becomes an existing legislation that we can play with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. NNPD, please.
Thank you very much. Well, like I said earlier on, the first thing we are going to do first 6 months of our administration, both people locally here and those in diaspora will be participants at that summit. Now, we will identify the areas of interest, the areas where they have interest to invest, and we'll work out the partnership with government. I have gone ahead before now. I went to Europe, and I went to America, and I discussed with a lot of people in diaspora, particularly in the healthcare sector. And I shared our healthcare plans with them, where we want to make sure that every ward has a health center, a cottage hospital. And I discussed with a lot of doctors and those in the health sector. After sharing the plans with them, they said a lot of them will be willing to come back to man these health centers. And that is what we are talking about, how to encourage people in diaspora to be part of government. Now, with that promise from a lot of them. Right here, I've seen the necessity to establish a ministry in charge of diaspora business relations so that we can encourage them to be part of government in Imo State. Now, having said that, the ball will now be in the court of the people in diaspora. Thank God we already have an umbrella, which is the Imo Community Europe. Now you have a leadership, so it's not difficult to start from there. There are those in the United States and other continents who partner together. The important thing is to know the direction that we are going. And one thing I promise Imolites, listen very well. I am going to work with all of us to make Imo State the most prosperous state in Africa. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to work with those in diaspora to make sure that Imo State becomes the most prosperous state in Africa. Now, I am also going to ensure that we put food on our table. Whatever anybody is talking about governance, if it is not how to put food on the table of Imolites, I am not interested. Food is the most important thing. We are talking about Biafra. Listen, this is very important, and I'll end with this point. We are talking about Biafra. We can't be talking about Biafra when we have not attained self-sufficiency in food production. The onions we eat, where does it come from? The north. The yam we eat, where does it come from? The north. The goats, where does it come from? North. The cow, the north. We can't continue like that. So we are going to make sure that Imo State is well fed, first of all. And once we achieve that, then anything can follow. Now, in addition to that, we are going to make sure that every child in Imo State below 12 years enjoys free medical care. We are going to make sure that every citizen above 60 years will enjoy free medical care during our government. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Let me start by saying platform. And for anyone that wants to be the next governor of Imo State should have a certain level of courtesy. I want to also to let everybody know is that 2016 I discussed with Nido Germany. When we talk about partnership with the diaspora, the person, one of the top leaders of Nido Germany is Comrade Ejiduru. I don't want anybody to tell me I went to US, I went to UK. And we have started discussing on the issue. Our discussion was on the issue of audience. Our discussion was on the issue of partnership as it relates to education. And Nido, they were very much in support of making sure that they put the necessary systems in place in order to make sure that the partnership as it relates to education becomes functional. Imo people like education. If there is a strong partnership with the state and the people in the diaspora, we can actually plant 3 private universities in this state. Each university can employ 5,000 persons. Every strong university can employ 5,000 people. So from the diaspora and partnership with the state, if we have this partnership in the educational sector, we will have at least 3 universities that will employ 15,000 people. It's going to solve the issue of unemployment and deal with the issue of education. We're going to do that as it relates to the health sector. We're going to do that as it relates to the agricultural sector. We're going to do that as it relates to the judicial system, because I believe that these persons in the diaspora are professionals in their cadre. So we're going to look at the professionals who are here, and we're going to do that partnership with them, because you cannot overrule the fact that we need people that are the base for the people in the diaspora to function. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I have a YPP, please?
The Diaspora Commission is a very powerful commission that first of all will identify every Imo citizen in the world, wherever they live, aggregate their sectors, their talents, sector by sector, where they play in. And do you know that some of the problems that these people have is when they come back home, because of the system here is sometimes very corrupt, and these persons live in areas where best practices in South Africa, everywhere I've been there. I have met with a lot of brilliant young Imo State citizens. Imo were a madu. But my challenge is that most of the time they are afraid to come back here. We can connect them to the opportunities available in Imo State as we will create when I'm governor. And they can also network with the best of young people who are here and build partnerships together. These are the kinds of things that can generate wealth within the system. Believe me, the truth of the matter is that the most important thing we need in Imo right now, the most important, sir, they have a huge leadership deficit. We need someone with sound leadership capital who can set the big vision of the state and help Imo State get to where Imo State needs to be and maximize the human capital that we have and grow progress. For me, that's why I want to build a world-class Imo filled with endless possibilities, and we cannot do it without the diaspora participation. This is my thoughts. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, last but not least, SVP.
Thank you very much. Before I delve into the subject, I'd like to do a quick fact check. I think one of my colleagues here mentioned that he would like to see a primary health center in every ward. Presently, we have 414 primary health centers in Imo. So it means that we have 305 wards, we already have 414 facilities. So we have coverage, though how they are run is another issue. Talking about the attracting the diaspora investments that have been coming to Nigeria, I did mention earlier that my Imo Marshall Plan map pioneered a very novel investment scheme called the Imo Investment Bond. Imo's investment bond was primarily targeted at our people in the diaspora. And you would notice that a common thread that runs through most of the other presenters is that they said they will set up, they will advise, they will see how this can be done. Since 2014, I had done my own homework, and I came up with the figures of remittances that are sent to this part of the world. And I asked myself and my team asked the questions, how can we harness these investable funds? And this was why we came up with that product. The way it works is this. I have a younger sister who is a registered nurse in Philadelphia, for instance, in the US. And I'm sure that every family in Imo State would have somebody who works either in the healthcare or in different sectors all across the globe. For us to harness these investments or these investable funds, what we need to do is to create an atmosphere of confidence. Now, there are many people in the diaspora, professionals, who are all looking to come home. They are looking to retire here, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Some even want to come back next year. But the question is, do we have a hospitable environment that can take care of them? Can they easily get embedded into this society? We have people who train their children, who take their children out of the shores of this country to study. Not because they want them to get acculturated to foreign cultures, but because the system here is not good enough. The Imo State Investment Bond Scheme is designed in such a way and is a sovereign instrument in the sense that if you're a doctor and you're practicing in Manchester, you can save £10,000 or £1,000 or whatever you want to save. You invest it in the Imo State Investment Bond Scheme. What it means is, this is, if you say sovereign, it means there's a first line charge. Your money can never get lost.
Summary.
Let me just learn. It means that your investment can never get lost. What it means is that over the years, you become a stakeholder in the Imo project. Because this is the pool of funds that will be used to set up industries, various areas, healthcare, agricultural, manufacturing, and all the likes. Because they are stakeholders in the Imo project, it is cheaper than sourcing for investable funds from banks and the regular financial institutions. And that is a way of also bringing back the world to home. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please give them a round of applause?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to those of you that submitted the questions. Some of these questions are addressed to the candidates directly. Because of want of time, we will not be able to go through all the questions that you have sent in. But I assure you, we are going to dispatch these questions to the candidates as you have addressed, and we will publish their responses on our website and on YouTube. And we'll make sure if you are greeted here tonight, if we have your details, we'll forward the answers to yourselves. Right now, Your Excellencies, because of want of time, we're going to try and round up. I must thank you on behalf of Imo Community Europe for making out time to attend this debate, to talk to your people all over the world. I assure you that Imo Community Europe will always be praying for you. Will always be there. If any of you emerges as the governor of Imo State, we will come in full force to give you our support. Before we close for the afternoon, can I invite you now to please give us your closing remarks. You have 2 minutes to tell the Imolites once again why you should be the governor, or whatever you want to say. It's your time. If I start from the candidate for YPP.
Struggling to take care of us. My father died when I was in JSS 3. I was left in this world alone with a struggling mother. I have passed through poverty. I know what it looks like. And with this background, God has enabled me to get to where I am in the world. That at 44, 2 honorary doctoral degrees at 44. At 44, I have made progress in life. By now, I'm supposed to be doing something different. But it is unfortunate that I can't be happy wherever I am. When Imo State is mentioned, people laugh at us in shame. I decided to sacrifice everything in my power to come back to Imo, to just come and make a difference and leave a legacy. To be very honest with you, if the heart is not clean, if the purpose in the heart is not clean, if the heart is not selfless, if the heart is not visionary, there is no amount of commitment that will make a difference. Linus Okori, for 1 year I've been in Imo State, traveling everywhere, talking on radio everywhere, trying to tell the people that we have to retire those who have kept us where we are today. That is my thoughts, that everyone that has been part of those that have messed us up as a country, as a state, we will end their politics and enthrone a politics that is visionary. I will provide great vision for Imo State, and I will lead a cause to leave a legacy that never in Imo will make without honor lead us again. That if there is anything I can offer this state is leadership.
Audience, please, audience.
By the special grace of God, by the special grace of God, where their Sam Bakwe stopped, Linus Okori, God bear me witness, when you vote me your governor, I will make a difference. I will leave a legacy, and I will touch the soul of everyone in this room, in honor of my father, in honor of my mother. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keze is somebody with an impeccable track record. Beginning from the age of 20 years, when I graduated as the best graduating student in my faculty, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, I was hired by 4 multinationals. Even before I could finish writing my degree exam, USCN, Unilever, Atwanderson, and Citibank. At the age of 20 years, I went into the corporate world. At the age of 28, I became a full-blown manager in Citibank. At the age of 35, I became an assistant vice president. I started heading the public sector infrastructure and telecoms department, handling budgets that are bigger than the budgets of many African countries. I consult for multinationals, and I have done consultancy work for one of the fastest growing economies in Africa today, the Republic of Rwanda. What I'm saying is this: I come to this position with very rich and impeccable pedigree.
Please do not take his time.
My simple request is this: we cannot continue to garbage in and garbage out. Governance in Imo State needs to go from analog to digital, from digital to artificial intelligence. This is where the world is now. We can no longer recycle career politicians. The time for competence, for meritocracy and quality is now. This is what Okeze and the SDP will deliver. Thank you.
Audience, please, audience.
Please. For this opportunity, for this thoughtfulness. The name Emeka Ihedioha rings a bell positively for good things. I am tested. I have been tried. I am known as a man whose word has been his bond. And I say this, Mr. Moderator, it is very difficult to play at the level I have played, and you still are seen as a good man. Mr. Moderator, I thank God for the privileges I've had in life. So today, I am a commander of the Order of the Niger. Mr. Moderator, an honor given to me by the Federal Republic of our country, by virtue of my accomplishments and attainments. What we require today, Mr. Moderator, my dear people, is that 2019, which is the way we are in, is 1 year we cannot afford to joke with. It's a year we need a man with multiple capacities. I am a repository of positive capacities. I said to you, Mr. Moderator, in my years in governance, I have attracted several projects in virtually all aspects of human endeavor into our state. I take lead in human capacity development. I take lead in infrastructure and institutional development in our country. I have touched virtually every institution in our country, in our state today, in the healthcare, educationally, and of course, even in the media. And I said to you, what we require is a man who has capacity, that understands where to press the bell at any point in time, where to knock and the door shall be open. Ours is a competitive nation. We shall be struggling within the simple. Yes, we have great ideas. We shall do. But Imo is not an independent state. Imo is a state within the Nigerian Federation. And so you require symbiotic relationship. If you look at all of us.
30 seconds remaining.
Pardon?
30 seconds remaining.
Okay. Now, Mr. Moderator, I said to you, I am certain you all know, I've prepared myself for the task ahead. I will bring to bear onto our state capacity to rebuild, capacity to rehabilitate, capacity to give us a sense of pride. I urge you, Imolites, as I pray that God Almighty should grant us the will to vote rightly. It is important to know that I am never shy. I am never shy at any point in time to stand to be counted. I stand here to be counted. I am a courageous man. I confront issues. I will sanitize our state. This is one quality I have that many will beg to. I know where the dog preaches. I beg you, may God bless all of us in Jesus' name.
I thank Imo Community Europe for putting this together. Listen to me. If I remained in the judiciary, I could climb to become a justice of the Supreme. But But because of the challenges we face in Imo State presently, I resigned my job on 20th of February last year, 20th of January last year, to contest and win the governorship of Imo State. Now listen, what Imo requires is not just a governor. What Imo requires is a leader. And that's what I am going to be to you. I'm going to be your leader. Now, what does a leader do? What does a leader do? A leader ensures that his people are well fed. And that is what I'm promising Imolites. A leader ensures that his people have good health care services. That is what I am promising Imolites. Now, a leader ensures that he governs by rule of law. I am going to clean up our courts. Our courts are like ramshackles. I'm going to clean up the entire judiciary and create confidence in people so that they can, the confidence that our judiciary used to have is restored. I'm going to ensure local government autonomy and make sure that education is free indeed. Did you say something, moderator?
30 seconds.
Oh. I'm going to make sure that education is free indeed. I'm also going to make sure that those of us who are in diaspora they have opportunity to be part of government by establishing a ministry in charge of diaspora business and appoint somebody from amongst those living in that as a commissioner. That is what we are going to do. We are going to establish an industrial park and ensure that we run a knowledge-based economy. That is
Imo community in Europe for this wonderful opportunity. I want to let everyone here know that 2019 on the second day of March is going to be a decisive moment for each and every one of us. And the only political party that you are permitted to vote for is Change Advocacy Party. I want you to know that I, Reverend Barrister Ikenna Emmanuel, I have lived in this town for 41 years. I warned Imo people in 2011, and I'm warning Imo people again. If we make the mistake of recycling chartered politicians, we may regret. I want Imo people to know this, that my Faster Imo project and the Human Dignity Tripod Vision is committed to the people. Until we give attention to the people, we cannot have a strong Imo. I want us to know that there is no other person that can feel the pain of Imo people except someone who has been on ground. A lot of persons who are coming out to contest for this position, immediately after this election, they will be at Abuja. They will be Senegal or any of those places. But I'm going to be here with you. I want you to know this, that come 2019, when you make me the next governor of Imo State,
30 seconds.
I have the feeling
30 seconds,
and I understand the way we need to drive the process.
Audience, please, audience.
How can you say you want to be the next governor of Imo State? You don't know where is Mere Street. You don't know where is Amigo. You don't know where is Kaha Street. How do you want to become the next governor of Imo State when you don't know where they hinterlands, where they collect phone at Douglas Road? How will you know Morie Lane? You don't know Morie Lane. You don't know Amigo, and you want to be governor. When you vote me as the next governor of Imo State, I understand the train. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Audience, please, audience. Ladies and gentlemen, answer. It is very obvious there is only one person who will occupy the seat of governor of Imo State come 2019. And right now, we have 5 of you. And our prayer is that the next governor of Imo State hello. Our prayer is that the next governor of Imo State, come 2019, should come among 5 of you. Now, if one of you emerges as a would you consider to work with the rest of the candidates who appear here tonight? If I put that question to you and say, the candidate for PDP, yes or no? Yes. You work. Okay, thank you. And if you lose, would you consider working with the winner? Audience, yes, that's good. If you win, would you consider working with the rest of the candidates who are here tonight for the betterment of Imo people? Yes. You will. And if you lose, would you consider working with the winner? Yes. That's good. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes, yes. This is my man, anytime, any day.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Commissioner for Finance.
Very much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. If you win, would you consider working with your colleagues who are here tonight?
Yes, I'll bring them into the State Executive Council.
Excellent. And if you lose, would you consider also working with them, with the winner, to make sure that the government runs smoothly?
There shall be no loss, but I would.
You are. Excellent. Thank you very much. So, Your Excellency, if you win, would you consider working with your colleagues who are here?
Yes, I will, because they are experts in their own class.
Excellent. And if you lose, would you consider working and embracing them in their office?
Yes, I will.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's wonderful very wonderful to have such civilized professionals who are aspiring to be the governor of Imo State. And now hand over to MC. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, Your Excellencies, can I give my indulgence, please, just for